Hey everybody, NecroVMX here. Welcome to my channel, and you are listening to POTATOCAST. How y'all doing on this fine Thursday evening? Woo! I'm feeling like a beached whale right now because I just got back from dinner. Man, every time I hit one of my weight loss goals, I'm like, I'm gonna treat myself. So I went to Perkins, and I didn't get nothing unhealthy, man. I got these like chorizo flatbread thingies. And then I got grilled salmon and like rice and broccoli. Thing is, it was a full meal, and I am not used to eating full meals no more. It used to be I'd polish that shit off and then have a piece of pie. Now I'm like, man, I ate all that. I ain't gonna eat for 2 days now. Oh man. You know what's gonna happen later? I'll feel better in about 2 hours. I'll take a nice healthy shit. But that's neither here nor there. Also got back from I did. I'll tell you that in a second. I did hit 30 pounds. I'm down 30 pounds. I don't think I ever said where I started. I started at 277 was when I started this whole shit. So now I'm at 247, which is pretty cool. I got some great words of congratulation and encouragement from certain friends, from Julie as well. She's supporting me every bit of the way, you know. And, of course, my family. Speaking of family, I just got back from... Well, I said I went to dinner, but what? Oh man, I haven't slept really. I went to bed mad early. I went to bed at like 9:30 a.m. expecting to sleep till like 6. Nah. Woke up like 1. Had a bad dream. Fucked up shit. Don't want to talk about it, but couldn't go back to sleep. Wound up playing on my phone. Came out here, play on the computer. Killed time. The reason I wanted to get up at 6 because my little nephew, Bobby, was graduating preschool, and he's going to be going to kindergarten next year, and it's just like, damn, you know, how the time has flown, you know, so went to the graduation, and it was interesting, you know, I actually videotaped the whole thing, and, you know, because his dad couldn't be there, because his dad was, like, sick, something wrong with his legs or something, I don't know, but I taped the whole thing on my phone so you could see it. I'll probably put that on Facebook for my family and shit. It won't be on YouTube, but it was cute, you know, all little kids. And what I thought was interesting was they clearly had, like, some kids who were, like, special needs, and they were, like, right alongside the kids who were not. And I think that's good because it helps people be a little bit more inclusive, and they had teachers there that, you know, taught at different rates for the kids and everything, and I don't know, I thought it was a good thing. But, man, he's going to kindergarten next year. That's just crazy. Sorry, Andrew's typing at me. I'm typing back at him. So anyway, man, I got a lot of stuff to talk about. I wanted to talk about McJuggernuggets again, but I didn't want to go into a whole thing like I did last week. I wanted to keep it relatively brief. He ended the Psycho series. He didn't say that it was fake, but he showed that it was fake by including his family at the end, you know. Larry not in a neck brace, Jeff not dead, you know, and just, you know, Terry there not divorced, you know, and everybody being happy. And I did a video where I talked about my feelings about the whole thing with the Psycho series ending, and looks like he's starting a new series now. He just put up a video today. It was very short. It was like 2 minutes long or something. It was I don't know. It was 2 minutes, but it was short. Actually, let me look at this shit. This fucking asshole. I'm gonna bring it up right now. Oh, it was 2 minutes 15 seconds. It's called One Rebirth, and I'm guessing this is a series that he filmed while he was in Switzerland. It has been confirmed by multiple people that Jesse is in Los Angeles. He's been seen in Los Angeles. We know he got the job with Red Sun Entertainment. And we know that a huge amount of the final vlogs and the Psycho videos were all filmed weeks, if not months ago. Probably all in, you know, a couple of weeks. They filmed, like, you know, a month's worth of stuff and put it out day by day. And then they went to Switzerland for a family vacation. And all this stuff that you're going to see, you know, this whole rebirth shit is probably going to be like, you know, it is probably going to be a whole new, like, series. At least now he's not trying to say it's real, or at least he can't really say it's real, you know. But, I mean, you know, the whole thing was like, I don't know, he's like, waking up in a field of dandelions, and he's like, you know, naked. Well, he's got boxers on, but like, I don't know what's up with him always getting naked on YouTube. I mean, he's always taking... I mean, I know he's copying Waffle Pone, but it's like, dude, you're not doing the Psycho series anymore. And even, like, his brother was filming it. Like, he's pretending he has amnesia, but he's doing, like, Hollywood amnesia, where he doesn't remember anything. I tell you, I work with people with amnesia. That's not what it's like at all. You know, they remember who they are. They know their names. They, you know, they know where their surroundings are. They just have a difficulty forming new memories. If you want to see a movie that actually accurately portrays amnesia, 50 First Dates is one example. Although if you want a non-chick flick and a much better movie, you, check out Memento, which was a Christopher Nolan movie. That was really fucking sweet. But anyway, you know, he did this video, and even his brother was like, dude, put your clothes on. Because he's all like, where's my clothes? Where am I? Who am I? What is this? Who are you? You know, doing all that shit. And he's like, your clothes are over there. It's fine. Let's go inside. Like, put your clothes on. And he was like, after a while, he's like, put your damn clothes on. And he never... I don't know why he thinks we want... Maybe he thinks the little 12-year-old girls watching him, the little girl juggies, think he's sexy and hot AF. I don't know. I always thought he came off kind of as a creeper. But, I mean, it's neither here nor there. I don't care. I don't care if he does more videos. I don't care if he does more fake shit. Because he's been exposed. He's exposed himself. You know, he can't pass any of this shit off as his real life anymore. So, as for the McJuggernuggets expose, I've given it a lot of thought. And you guys left me some comments about it. A few people texted me and, you know, did some other shit to get my attention. But let me just kind of read through some of the comments I got on the McJuggernuggets is done, he's still a bad person video. So I want to see. Video Game Spaz says I should continue the expose. Dylan Taylor said it's a shame that kids fell... Oh, okay, that's not... I just want to read the ones about whether or not I should continue. Ciaran Poncho Man says, oh, come on, even though he admitted to it, I'd still love to see the rest of the fakeness in his series. I'd also like to see how not to write a YouTube series. Tuned Inside, dude looks like an egg, but I love his fucking videos. He says, good video, man. I couldn't have said it any better. The expose series, I would love to see one or two more for the fact that the series is real good. Put a lot of thought into writing the script for it. You expose every detail perfect, and I love watching the series. We should do a collab sometime. Actually, yeah, Tuned Inside, dude, Skype me. Actually, I'm gonna PM you. I want you to Skype me. I've been actually wanting to reach out to you to do a collaboration, because I think your channel's super fucking cool, so we should do something together. Let's see. LaCarrie Mitchell says, I say you go back through the series and just pick it to pieces. XJVHS Gaming said, those who still believe that McJuggernuggets videos are real are complete morons. Well, yeah. Mega Mike 6, a bunch of numbers. Your series on him is great. Even as a fan of the Psycho series, I can 100% enjoy your videos on him. By the way, you should groom your beard a bit. Well, no, man, I'm cool. That was at the end of a long day. It's easy to look sharp when you haven't done any work, you know what I'm saying? No hate, though. Crazy Horse 9000, please continue the McJuggernuggets videos. You should change the name to McJuggernuggets Plot Holes and Inconsistencies. That's one of my favorite comments, because, man, I didn't want to continue it, because... Well, here, let me skip down here to what Armageddon Time says. That's my friend Jesse. Not Jesse Ridgway, Jesse Funley. He says, if you don't feel as passionate about doing the series, then I wouldn't go ahead with it. Then it would feel more like work, and the product might suffer. Do it because you want to, not because you feel you have to. That being said, looking forward to more kick-ass vids. Jesse gets me. Jesse Fulling, that is. I get him. We're good friends, and he understands that my heart's not really in it, doing the expose series anymore. But I say Crazy Horse's comment kind of left a different taste in my mouth when he said, do it as, you know, McJuggernuggets Plot Holes and Inconsistencies. I kind of want to do that. So I haven't made like a final decision, but I'm going to take a break from it for now. I want to see what he's doing, what he's going to do, where he's going forward. There's not a point to continuing to expose him as fake, but I do like picking apart the videos, and I think that with a tonal shift and sort of a rebranding, I could continue it, you know, as a different thing, sort of reboot it. So that being said, thank you for the comment, Armageddon Time, and thank you for the comment, Crazy Horse 9000. Those are the two best comments in my opinion. Emperor Emperor 15 says, thank you for making the series to begin with. I'll still watch it whether you continue to or cancel it. Well, you can't watch it if I cancel it, but I would hope you watch my other videos. I think that's what you might have meant. The Chironoid Man says, the exposés are fun to watch, but as you said in the video, there's not much point in doing them anymore since he's now admitted to them being fake. I mean, yeah, but I kind of do like the idea of picking them apart. I got a lot more comments. I don't want to go through all of them because I really don't want to spend this whole fucking video talking about McJuggernuggets. Let me go over your... Actually, I want to do comments, but I want to do comments from last POTATOCAST. And now, POTATOCAST is going to be every week, guaranteed, every Thursday. Some days it might be, like, so late that it's more like Friday morning, but it will always be up. I'm not going to do it on Saturdays no more, because... That's why I couldn't do it every week, because Saturdays is just ridiculous. But let me go back to last week's POTATOCAST. And, I want to read the comments there. If I can find the damn thing. Oh, here. No, wait. That's from May 28th. Where's the other POTATOCAST? Did I not do one last week? Oh! You know what it is? Because I'm thinking Saturday. No, that is the last one. Because I didn't do it on Saturday because I was changing the schedule. So, yeah, May 28th was... Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. See, May 28th was a Saturday, and then I would have done it on the 5th, but then I was like, no, I'm gonna do it on the 9th. I'm changing the day of POTATOCAST. All right, let's look. I got, let's see, 24 comments. Let's see what you guys said. Doc Holliday said, hey, Necro, I've been watching a while, and you make good points, and you were right. He's dangerous because other people are copying it. There's a channel he promoted called Psycho Mom. That's a carbon copy with a trashy middle-aged woman. Someone is bound to get hurt. I gotta say, though, no hate, though, but Psycho Mom's kind of hot. I just want to say. But that being said, I mean, I actually, after, you know, Jesse showed that it was fake and everything, I kind of wondered what... Because this woman, I don't know if it's fake with her. It could be fake. It could be real. I don't know. But she's like obsessed with Jesse. She got like a tattoo of him on her back, but it's like a shitty tattoo. It don't really look like him. And she's like, she wants him. She wants his body, you know? And I was like, I want to check out what she thought. And I went over to her video, and she's like, she feels all betrayed. And there's just a lot of kids. I mean, you know, she's obviously an adult, but there's a lot of kids, juggies, who are they feel betrayed. I saw a lot of the comments, you know, they're going on about, you know, you burned our fan mail just for video. I can't believe you lied to us. You were deceitful, you know. And, I mean, I've been, you know, I want my games back. I want the money I sent back. You're an asshole. And, I mean, I kind of want to be like, man, me and so many other YouTubers have been trying to tell you kids this. Don't believe in this false idol. But, unfortunately, that, you know, it's hard when they're indoctrinated that hard. I mean, I wish he would have said it was, you know, fictional from the start, and we wouldn't have this problem. Psycho Mom, man, I think I just subscribed. I was aware of the videos, but I never subscribed. I kind of was like, I want to see this woman have a breakdown about Jesse's fake, and she was like in love with him and shit, and thought he was in danger and whatnot. Carl Canine Lionheart Meaner says, what disturbs me the most about Jesse's videos is that he is not only giving out harmful advice and information to impressionable young children who look up to him, but a portion of these true juggies do come from broken homes and abusive situations. Yes! I agree. And he's showing them the wrong thing to do. He's showing them shooting his dad and all this shit. What a fucking asshole. My heart genuinely goes out to people who come from that background, as I know people who have to struggle with that background, and they have enough issues and obstacles that they have to work through in life without having people like Jesse in their lives. It really sucks, and it's disgusting to me that Jesse is doing this for nothing more than a paycheck. I'm glad that he's not doing his powwows anymore, but as far as I see it, the damage is already done, and as long as his videos are even on his channel, they continue to do damage. There's more to this comment, but I just want to break in again and say, man, you are preaching to the choir. I agree with you 100%. You are pretty much saying what I've been thinking and what I've been saying. Yeah, man. It's like I said, it's disgusting. He says, I am no lawyer, so I can't say anything about the legality of what he's doing. While it isn't illegal to film and make shows on the internet, I do wonder if it is legal to make a show like Jesse's, tell the cops it's staged, but also openly state in the videos that the content in his videos are genuinely and really his actual life. Well, see, this is the thing. And this is where he skates that. I'm going to tell you what he does. He's actually very smart, but so deceptive. when he says it's real, he's in character. You know, we don't know the real Jesse Ridgway. We don't know what he's really like. You know, we've seen him play characters, whether it was on any of his old series or in the Psycho series. We've only seen him as this character or that character. We don't see him as the real guy. Nobody knows what he's really like. So when the Jesse that you see, he says it's real, he's in character. So the character is saying that the character's life is real, because the character is not aware that he's fictional, so to speak. So, yeah, legally he can do that. Morally is a whole nother question, but... Alright, let me continue reading what you said. I lost my spot, though. Here we are. To me, it seems like it would cause a situation that would drive people to call the police on him, which in the end is wasting the time, energy, and resources of the police department and the taxpayers' money. Regardless of the legality of it, I think it's perfectly reasonable to say what he's doing is morally wrong and harmful. Absolutely. I mean, and it has been proven that, because some YouTubers have called the police on camera or spoken about conversations they've had with the police, whether in Elmer or in Pittston or the New Jersey State Police Department, and they've said that they, you know, towards the end of the Psycho series, they were getting hundreds of calls a day. It was really gumming up their works, you know. And I'm not a big fan of the police, but you're right about taxpayer money. I mean, you know, we're paying their salaries, and they're sitting there dealing with thousands of calls a week from kids concerned about a YouTuber, you know, and they're not doing the job they're supposed to be doing, whether or not, you know, you agree with that job is a whole other thing. Keep doing what you're doing, even if you don't get much feedback from people saying they used to believe it's real and now understand its stage. You never know how many people you have helped that simply haven't given you feedback. Take care and good luck towards continuing with your weight loss goal. Well, I gotta say that I think even if it's one person, then that's positive. It's sort of a moot point now, but I have had a few people who have given me that feedback. Thank you very much for your comment. It was very thoughtful. I'm going to move on here. Siren Poncho Man says, honestly, I think that if somebody actually died because of Jesse, he'd continue like it wasn't a big deal. His crew would be pissed and probably heartbroken, but he'd pay them to continue. It's all for the views, aka money, in Jesse's eyes. Yeah, and I mean, he would have faced legal repercussions, though, but it's all a moot point now, thank fuck. So tired of talking about him, and I really do want to move on to the discussions, but I also want to read all your comments, and unfortunately, last week, I talked about McJuggernuggets a lot. SSerpent21 says, hey, Necro, I love Isaac Saturdays. Keep them up, please. Absolutely will. Looking forward to Doom 3 as well. Any ideas on another major live stream and when it would be? Thank you. No. Probably, I don't know. I haven't given it much thought. I've been so busy with shit. I will do more streams, but I don't know when. Oh, there's another comment from Carl, Canine Lionheart Meaner. Oh, and by the way, I figured I'd leave another comment because you did talk about more than just McJuggernuggets. I'm usually not a fan of watching Let's Plays, but Breath of Fire 3 was one of my favorite RPGs, so I may take a look at that when you upload it. Right now I'm playing Doom 3. Regarding the Ghostbusters trailer, there really isn't much more that I can say that hasn't already been said. I do remember the first time I saw the trailer, I got so depressed I got drunk. Like you, James Rolfe, and others, I am not going to see it. I think it's best to just remember Ghostbusters the way it was supposed to be, and not insult it by watching a version steeped in political correctness and cheap, unclever humor. Anyways, peace, man. I'm not worried. I'm not like... See, it isn't the whole political correctness thing that gets me. I mean, I didn't mind. Like, when they said they wanted to do it with women, I was like, that's cool. That could be cool. That could be funny. And a lot of the girls they got in Ghostbusters are very funny. It's just that when we saw the trailer, like, you know it's not going to be good. I mean, with a comedy, you put all the best bits in the trailer. You put all, like, the funniest jokes. And I didn't laugh. It wasn't, like, funny. So, like, no matter how talented Melissa McCarthy or Kristen Wiig or whatever are, you know, if you can't write a script, it's going to suck. Alex Shannon says, part of the reason I'm working on fitness goals, i.e. to be more fit than I am despite being pretty healthy, is to get in shape to do stunt work. I've auditioned to be in the next series of Power Rangers Ninja Steel, and I want to improve my existing skills to a point where I can do as many of my own stunts as possible. Even if I don't, I've got a 2-year plan to get into fighting fit shape so I can try out for the series after next in 2 years. It's a long shot, but I'm doing my best to make it. Even if I don't, all that hard work will still pay off since I'm writing an action series of my own that I want to star in or at least perform stunts in. Well, that's certainly interesting. I ain't gonna watch no Power Rangers, but I'm kind of curious now. Larry Morgan says, there hasn't been anyone who put together the evidence that you have against the Psycho series. I really enjoyed the expose series. You did a great job with it. Well, thanks. I'm proud of it. Definition 83 says, I love the relaxing setting of hearing the birds in the background. Yeah, that was, in the morning. I now I'm going to be doing POTATOCAST at night, or in the evening at least, so you probably won't hear that as much. But yeah, it's pretty cool to hear that. Doc Holliday says, look up Jeffrey and Jesse Virtually Infamous on YouTube. They're on a game show type thing. Yeah, I know. I've seen it. The Undertaker says, I know what you mean. I think he also tried to promote suicide in a way, because as he dragged his uncle... yeah. You know what? I'm going to skip this one. I'm sorry, Undertaker, man. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm just kind of done with McJuggernuggets right now. Let's see. And then Larry Morgan again with more McJuggernuggets stuff. I gotta say that I replied to him and I said I think the Psycho series will be over in a matter of weeks. It turned out it was a matter of a week. So there you go. But wow, yeah. I'm done talking about McJuggernuggets for now. I'm not saying that I'm never going to talk about him again, but right now it's just sort of fatiguing to me. One thing that I do want to talk about, and I'm going to be putting the link to this in the description, is last year I told you guys about my friend Hitomi, who lives in Japan and was having difficulties because she lost her job, and she was having a difficulty finding a new job because of where she lived, and she had a landlord who was being opportunistic and raising the rent and trying to get more money out of her, and she couldn't pay her rent. And I convinced her to open up a GoFundMe because she was being put in a position where she might have to do something that she was morally opposed to make money. And I'm talking about, like, not out and out prostitution, but close to it. And once you go down that path, it's a difficult one to get off of. She's a very lovely girl that, you know, is very dear to me, and I didn't want her to do anything like that, you know. And I put it out there to you guys to maybe donate, share the link, and whatnot. And I gotta say that you guys really helped out. And she was I want to give you an update first off. She was able to move. She got out of there, and she got a new job. She hasn't started her new job yet. She's going to be starting once she gets back to Japan, because she's actually in America now. She's in California. And the reason that Hitomi came to California is actually also sad. Her mother was very sick, and she recently passed away. And unfortunately, I'm going to give you guys another GoFundMe link. And the reason is because the whole funeral bill is just too much for her family. And, you know, I don't know that I necessarily have the permission to air a lot of this, but I feel it's necessary for you guys to know what she's up against. Her mother worked at a McDonald's, and her co-workers pooled together a bunch of money for her, and something like $2,000 or $3,000, and that money vanished, stolen by her stepfather. So, and then the actual, like, inheritance was not a lot of money, and it was split between her and her siblings, and, you know, they're stuck with these medical bills. It's not a lot of money that she's asking for, but let me bring it up, actually. Tell you where she's at, what's going on. Oh, that's the GoFundMe main page. No, hold on. Yeah. Okay, so her goal is $420. She's raised $200. She's like a little less than halfway there, and you know, I've kicked her $50. I'm probably going to kick her another $50 probably tomorrow or so. That Brian Edwards dude, who must have like a lot of money and a very big heart, he's donated $80 and then another $50, and then there's a few other people. But just help her out. You know, like, her mother just died, and she's got to get back to Japan soon to start her new job. And yeah, I'm going to put the link in the description. So please take a look at that, and if you can donate something, even if it's like $5, $10, or whatever, please help. And if you can't donate anything, share the link. You know what I mean? Put it on social media, put it on Facebook, put it on Reddit, whatever you can do to get it out there, because it's a sad story. And yeah. Alright, I did want to talk a little bit about... I want to talk about movies, actually. I want to talk about movie reviewing. As I talked about in the video where I gave a channel update, and I went over my new schedule. And in case you missed that video, I'll go over it very briefly here. The new schedule is going to be videos every day. Saturday, you're going to get Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Saturday, and you're going to get a Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Synergy video. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are going to be the RPG days. I pushed them down. It used to be, I said RPG, Let's Play videos. It used to be Saturday through Tuesday were Let's Play days. It's now Sunday through Wednesday. Thursday, you'll get the Synergy video, which I already put out, in POTATOCAST, which you're listening to right now. Friday, you will get a movie review every single week. And if I do a second video on Friday, it'll be something like List Critics 2, or Cooking with VMX, or if I do continue the McJuggernuggets thing, it would be on a Friday, you know. So I have an open spot for whatever I need to put out. Won't always be 2 videos on Friday. So you get, 13 videos a week, possibly 14. Movie reviews, I talked about it a little bit on that video, but I've actually done movie reviews for a really long time. Before YouTube even existed, movie reviews were... before the internet was really a thing. I mean, it was a thing since, the late 60s, but I digress. Before the internet was super popular, before I had the internet, I would write movie reviews on my computer and just just to do it, and I think when I was a teenager, I had this idea that I kind of wanted to be a movie critic, but I never really went for that. I guess I probably should have, but I never really took it as seriously as I could have. But anyway, one of my first websites was a movie review website, and let me tell you guys, I don't have the files for that anymore, and I have tried to find... I've looked on archive.org. I've tried to bring it back. It was called the Crooked... not the Crooked Step. It was called The Second Reel, which I thought was super clever when I was 16, but it was called The Second Reel. I actually had a domain name. I had thesecondreel.com, but I couldn't... archive.org. I mean, there's spots for it, but I used a robots.txt, and I think that's the reason why it's not on there. But I did hundreds of movie reviews, and then I had other people who would do reviews for me, and that was the first major thing I did on the internet. And eventually I just stopped doing it. But I always wanted to go back to that, and doing YouTube, I've gone back to doing movie reviews. And when I did the X-Men Apocalypse review, I talked a little bit about critiquing movies and what that means to me and what I think it should mean for everybody. And gotta say that I got a great response to that, and it made me want to do more movie reviews. So, every week you'll get a movie review. Now, I'm going to try as often as I can to do a new movie, but it's not always going to be possible. And I won't be reviewing Ghostbusters, guys. It's not going to happen. But maybe when the week that Ghostbusters comes out, I'll review the original. But anyway, I gotta say that I'm very happy to be back to doing that on a more regular basis, and I hope you guys enjoy it. It's not at all going to affect the review features that I do in February. And by the way, I got that shit locked down. I know what I'm doing February 2017. It's not any particular theme. It's just going to be, a bunch of series where I review all the movies in a series. But I know what I'm doing. And also October, I know what I'm doing. It's what I was supposed to do last year, and I didn't do. It was 10 Days of Satan. So I'm going to do 10, satanic movies for Halloween. So that's another thing. But I just, I said in the X-Men Apocalypse review that I think that, more people should do amateur movie reviews. And I think that it's important because it's putting your thoughts out there, and I think that it's a good writing exercise, and even if you ad lib, it's just a good brain exercise. And I think I just really love movies, and I mean, I watch movies all the time, and I love talking about them. And I guess I didn't have as much to say about this as I thought I did, but I did want to talk about my old website. I had this website, The Second Reel, and it was kind of nutty the way I ran things. We didn't do 1 to 10. I've always believed in not doing fractional scores, but I did 1 to 20, with a 20 being the highest. That way, instead of doing 9.5 it would be like a 19, you know? That would be like the equivalent of that. It was kind of, like I said, it was kind of a wacky site, but... And I had this very weird format that I think I ripped off from, like, Wizard Magazine. But, you know, that was... Oh, man, I wish I still had that. I wish I could find some of those really old reviews. Like, some of them I wrote when I was, like, a teenager, and it's always interesting to go back and to read something you wrote. And especially, like, when you don't agree with what you said. And that's a thing, too. Roger Ebert once said something about being consistent. And he said he had no interest in being consistent. He says it because he talked about a movie that he had critiqued a long time ago, and then, you know, like how he felt about it now, and he wound up not liking it anymore. And he said, you know, I'm a different person now than I was then. That was 20 years ago. I'm not interested in being consistent. I'm interested in giving you my opinion at that moment. And it's true. Like, I've changed my mind on movies. There's been movies that I really liked the first time I saw them, and then they don't age well. You know, when you do a review of a new movie that just came out, it's your first impression. You're seeing it for the first time. And I always thought that, like, to really... Like, if you really love a movie, you're going to watch it more than once because you're going to get more and more out of it. And some of the very best movies out there, some of my favorite movies are movies that every time I watch it, I get something more out of it. Like, I've never done, like, a top 10, like, my top, you know, my favorite movies, but just to name a few off the top of my head, like, American Beauty is one of my favorite films. It was interesting because when I saw it, I was 20. And I remember that my uncle said that I won't really get it. He says, this is a movie, you're going to enjoy it, but you're not going to get it. Because it's about a midlife crisis. And he says, until you're like 35 or something, you're not going to understand what the character, you know, Lester Burnham is going through. And when I watched it, it became one of my favorites immediately, and I also felt that I did understand it. But of course I didn't, you know, and now I am 35, and I could watch American Beauty right now and just, like, love every second of it, just from beginning to end. And, you know, and some people have called it, like, a pretentious movie. This is the character of the neighbor kid who was, you know, like, filming bags in the wind and talking about beauty and everything. And that was, like, so the point of it, though, is that he was a pretentious guy, you know. It doesn't mean that the movie itself is pretentious. And, you know, yeah, I think that's one of those movies that, you know, not only seeing it again, because sometimes knowing what happens is important. People get hung up on spoilers. They get hung up on how something ends, finding out what happens, instead of just enjoying the story. Stephen King once said, people are obsessed with endings, and the ending is like, it's like, well, not to be too graphic, but this is what Stephen King says, it's like the end of sex. It's like that little squirt at the end. That's just something telling you, alright, it's over. It's time to go to sleep. When the body of it, what's the word I'm looking for? The meat of it, so to speak, is the actual, the love-making, the story. And then it does include the ending, but also includes everything else. And people, like, when people say, you know, like, they get spoiled, I hate the term spoiler, I hate the whole idea of it, because people are like, you've ruined it for me. And I'm like, really? Now, I've had movies where I would have preferred not knowing certain things. Like Terminator Salvation was an example of a movie that I thought was pretty well put together, but because I knew that the main character was a machine, I didn't understand why they were trying to pretend like he wasn't. Like, why they were trying to pretend that it was a surprise. But that wasn't because somebody told me that. It was because the fucking trailer had it in there. You know, that was just bad marketing. And really what it comes down to it, though, is that Terminator Salvation, although I could watch it and enjoy it as a fun movie, it's like not a really good movie, because if you can ruin it by knowing what happens, or if movies are supposed to be art, And if you can ruin art, it's not art. That's what I've always said. You know, and I actually first came up with that quote when me and a bunch of friends, me and some of my friends, we have like almost weekly movie nights where we go, and I'm not in charge of this, but my friend Andrew is. He has a movie, and he will live stream it on the internet, and we'll have like a little chat room, and we'll talk about it during the movie. And we were watching 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's such a ridiculous movie, such a well-crafted movie. I mean, Kubrick was a master when it came to cinematography, but like a nitwit when it came to storytelling. But 2001 is a good movie though, and I remember because there's like an intermission in the movie, and I think like we actually had like a little break in that intermission, and Andy went somewhere else. He went to like walk his dog or something. And my phone's going off. And I said to everybody, I said, hey, everybody change your name, because you can change your name in the chat to whatever. And I always give myself a different name. It's usually something that I think is amusing. And we all changed our name to Hal 9000 or some variation of it. Like, we couldn't have the same name. But like one would be 9000, like the number, and then one would be like spelled out, and you know, one would be like 9000, you know, like that. And we all and I said we're all going to talk in all caps like robots. We're going to talk like, so when Andy comes back, everybody just yell at him like a robot, you know. And he's like, oh my God, what is wrong with you fuckers? And we were like, what's wrong? We kept calling him Dave too. Like, if you watch 2001, you get why. We kept calling him Dave. Like, what's wrong, Dave? This is the way robots talk, Dave. You know. And he's like, you fuckers, like, what is wrong? Stop this. And we're like, no, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave. You know. And he's like, will you at least lower the caps? And we're like, this is how robots talk. And it was pretty funny. But anyway, he says, God damn it, this movie is art, and you people are ruining it. And I said, it isn't art if you can ruin it. If you can ruin art, it's not art, right? That's the way I feel about it. You motherfucker, I thought I had that on silent. Oh my God. All right, hold on. Let me put that on vibrate. There we go. So anyway, you know, I feel that, like, I've been meaning to talk about spoilers and stuff for a while, actually. Like, when I went to see Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, I knew already that Han was going to die. I knew that Kylo Ren was his kid. You know, like, it was around the end. Even though I saw it Christmas Day, it was like it had just opened. These things, they get out there, and there are people who get off on telling people these things. Like, I have somebody on my Steam buddy list whose name on Steam is Han Solo Dies in The Force Awakens. To this day, it's a half a year later, he still hasn't changed his name. And it's like, well, everybody's seen it by now, so it doesn't matter. But I'm like, so what? Like, who cares? Like, you know, I still, like, if that moment was ruined because I knew it, then it wasn't a very good moment. You know, and I got to tell you, knowing that he was going to die, and when I saw the scene like coming together, I was like, this is it. This is where he's going to die, and it still hit me. I mean, it wasn't a surprise, but it was still well crafted. So I think that if a movie can be spoiled, it's not a very good movie. So I just wanted to talk about that briefly. I've been meaning to talk about that on POTATOCAST for a long time, and I just haven't had the opportunity to until now. I really, really, really I wanted to talk about it last week. I really wanted to talk about it last week, and I just, like, when I got done talking about fucking Jesse the Cock Ridgway, I realized that I had, like, no time left. Yeah, and I realized I can make these as long as I want, but I want to keep it relatively short. I don't really want it to go, like, too much over an hour. Even then, I'd like to prefer it to keep it to, like, 45 minutes or so for POTATOCAST. But yeah, I wanted to talk about my thoughts on movies and spoilers and reviews and stuff like that. And I used to, you know, like, do reviews not for so much for new movies, but for older movies mostly. And people would get on me for spoilers. And like one time it was a movie that was, like, you know, from the 30s. And this person was like, you know, you spoiled the movie. And I'm like, really? Were you, like, looking forward to seeing this? Because it came out, you know, like, when your grandma was young. Like, this is 80 years old. The hell's wrong with you? You know, and it's like I said, it's like that scene in The Simpsons one of those flashback episodes where Homer and Marge are coming out of Empire Strikes Back, and Homer just like very loudly says, "Wow, I can't believe Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father," and everybody that was going in to see the movie is like, way to ruin the movie, man. And it's like, have you never watched a movie twice? Have you never watched a movie that you've seen before, knowing what happens? I mentioned American Beauty as an example. Another big favorite of mine is Fight Club. Fight Club is one of the most jarringly cool movies because you don't expect it to be good. You don't expect it to be anything important. And then you get this mindfuck of a movie. I like mindfuck movies. I'm a big fan of mindfuck movies. And I find most endings to be self-evident. I can usually figure out what the ending is without being spoiled. So for a movie to throw me for a loop, I'll be honest with you guys. I mean, I went to Tanya and I said, because we're planning on doing 9 episodes of Chronicles of Dark Lord. And I said, hey, in episode 9, is this the way it ends? And she was like, how the fuck would you know that? And I'm not going to say it, obviously, but, I said, well, that's the logical ending. That's the logical place for it to go. And and I'm not saying that Tanya can't ever surprise me with her storytelling, because she has, but, if you see the beginning and part of the middle, the ending is kind of self-explanatory. There's some movies where it goes completely out the window. And Fight Club was based on a book. I read the book. The book was good. But the movie completely changed the ending of the book, and it did like the opposite, and that was actually very smart, because the book had a very logical conclusion. Fight Club had a very illogical conclusion, but it was a very illogical movie, and that's what made it work. I've watched Fight Club so many times, and every time I watch it, I get a little more out of it. The Dark Knight is one of my favorite movies. It's a movie that, I know what happens at the end. I know Harvey Dent dies. I know the Joker gets captured and put into Arkham. I know that Rachel dies. I know that Batman takes the blame for all the murders and goes on the run. And I know what happens in the next movie, too. It doesn't stop me from loving the movie. Does not stop my enjoyment. As a matter of fact, I find that with movies that you highly anticipate, like The Dark Knight or like The Force, honestly, if going into the theater for The Force Awakens, which I thought was great, by the way, knowing that Han was going to die, kind of knowing the ending and everything, it took away so much fucking anxiety. I was able to just enjoy the scenes for what they are. I was able to, just see it as a movie and not oh my god, what's gonna happen? That's why I think that when it comes to reviews, you review a movie that's new, you might change your mind later. You might see it again and maybe it's better, the second time, or maybe it's worse. I'm gonna give you some examples of movies that have become better with age. When I've made references to Iron Man 3 in the past in some reviews where I've called it a bad film, and because the first time I saw it, I was like, this is bullshit. This is stupid. This is not as good as Iron Man 2, which was not as good as the first one. So I felt the whole Iron Man thing had just gone downhill in a major way. Second time I saw it, I was like, you know what? Knowing the whole stupid twist in the middle, knowing what happens, lets you enjoy more of the story and enjoy the fact that it actually had a very good script. Third time I saw it, I was like, you know what? Iron Man 3 is actually really good. Another Marvel movie, actually, The Incredible Hulk. First time I saw it, I was bagging on it hard because it wasn't Ang Lee's Hulk. I'm a big fan of Ang Lee's Hulk. Ang Lee's Hulk was one of those polarizing movies. You either love it or hate it. I'm firmly in the love it category. And then they're doing this movie that was not at all a sequel, but kind of pretended it was a little while, because if you watched Ang Lee's Hulk film, at the end of it, he's in Brazil. And then how does Incredible Hulk open up with him in Brazil? So I'm like, are they doing a sequel? That's weird. Why wouldn't they just, do something different? But, I get what they were going for. And every time I watch Incredible Hulk, I see the flaws, but once you've seen the flaws once, they're either... Flaws in films are interesting. They're like wounds. And as you watch the film a second or third time, the wounds are either going to close up and there'll be scars. You'll see the scars and you know that there are flaws and it's not perfect. But at the same time, you can enjoy the rest of it. And not focus so much on these wounds because they've healed. They left scars, but they don't hurt, so to speak. Whereas the opposite can happen where it's like picking at it. It just gets bigger and bigger. Sometimes flaws, the first time you see a movie, you note the flaws and you're like, okay, it was flawed, but overall I enjoyed it. But then the second time you're like, you know what? That part really pisses me off, you know? Trying to think of a movie that got worse. Well, actually, Superman 2 is an example of a movie that I've seen multiple times. And the most recent time I saw it, which was to do a review of it for YouTube, I fucking hated it. And that's a movie that I, at one time, thought was on par, if not maybe a little better than the first Superman. And then I went to thinking that, well, it's not as good as the first one, but it's still pretty good. And now I'm thinking, like, it's fucking garbage. It's a terrible movie. And I gotta get the Richard Donner cut and review that one day. But, you know, that being said, I do think that it's worth it to revisit your favorite movies to see if they're still your favorites. Sometimes you'll get more out of it, sometimes they won't be. And revisit movies that you didn't like. You know, I mean, not movies that you hated, necessarily. I mean, I'm never going to watch Blackenstein again. I'm never going to watch Werewolves on Wheels again, you know. Those are just, like, garbage. But I think that, like, yeah, you know, people change. There's, you know, I don't have to be consistent. Look, I get all 3 Captain America movies got 10 out of 10 from me. All for different reasons. Does that mean that they're all perfect? No. Does that mean that they're all equally good? No. I would say that Winter Soldier was by far the best one, and then I would say Civil War is after that, and then I would say that First Avengers after that. It's just that, you know, it's that moment in time. You know, if I was to do like Comic-Con now and review all 3 movies, I would probably give Winter Soldier a 10, and I would give Civil War a 10 too, as well, but I'd probably give First Avenger a 9. But, you know, just to put it in comparison. But when I saw Winter Soldier, when I saw the first Avenger, I hadn't seen the sequels. I didn't know the sequels were going to be better. And at that moment, that was a 10 out of 10 movie to me. Does that mean that I'll always feel that way? No. Does that, you know, so like, I think ratings, you know what, is a channel you got to check out. Check out I Hate Everything. He recently did, he's this British guy who rants about shit. Sometimes it's very funny. Sometimes it's not funny. But usually it's funny. He's funny more often than not. And he recently did a video called I Hate Review Scores. I thought it was interesting because he talked about how it's almost like a necessary evil and how he sees why they would be necessary and why they're a good thing. But then at the same time, sometimes people focus so much on the score that they don't understand why you gave it that score. And, you know, that's why you give the score at the end of your review, not at the beginning. Because if I just told you, you know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows is a 7 out of 10. And you say, okay, it's a 7, and moved on. But, like, if you listen to my review, I talked about how, like, I'm coming from the viewpoint of nostalgia and how I'm absolutely not above being swayed by the fact that it turned me into, like, a kid. It was like it wasn't a good movie. It really isn't a good movie, but for me it's a 7 because I got to see all this cool shit that I was into as a kid brought to life in a way that I'd never seen before and that I'd always wanted, and that it brought me back to those emotions of being a kid. And, you know, it was a 7 out of 10 for me and for people who were into the 1987 Ninja Turtles cartoon, but from an outsider's perspective, no, it kind of sucked, you know, to be honest with you. So it's like, that's why it's important to listen to the words. I mean, I always want to do reviews without scores, but I feel that I can't. You know, so it is kind of a necessary evil sort of thing. It's, you know, the scores are useful, but they're not everything. Sometimes people get, you know, really focused on things like that, and I mean, I don't know. And I mean, God forbid that, you know, you go against what the consensus is. And by the way, I just want to talk about Ghostbusters one last time, and then I'm going to quit for today. But Ghostbusters, I'm not going to review it. I'm not going to. I mean, I might see it at some point in the future, but I'm not going to see it in the theater, and I'm not going to do a review of it. And here's the reason why. I mean, I talked about it already, but because there are going to be people who are going to assume reasons why. Okay? And I'm going to tell you the reason why. There are a few different. Let's say I go see it, right? Let's say that, because I'm not one of those people that's declaring this movie to be trash. I just want to say something that, A lot of people, like, I've seen comments, Jimmy Kimmel just had, like, the cast of Ghostbusters and the cast of the old Ghostbusters. Obviously, Harold Ramis is no longer with us, but they had Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson, Annie Potts, and Bill Murray. No Sigourney Weaver, though. But they had the new cast and the old cast meeting each other and everything. And it's like, they look at the comments and they're like, oh, they're so, this is so pathetic. They're trotting out the old cast because they know it's going to bomb. And this movie is going to be trash. And it's like, we don't know it's going to be trash. Okay? I haven't seen it. You haven't seen it. Nobody's seen it yet. I mean, I assume some people have that worked on it or that are involved with it somehow. But we haven't seen it. I don't know if it's going to be trash. But let's say I go see it and it's actually really good. And I give it a positive review. And then it's like I get descended upon by these 40-year-old virgins who are, like, hating on this movie because it has women in it. That's a thing. I'm not going to say that that doesn't exist because I've seen it. That's disgusting to me. And I don't want to deal with those people. Then, let's say it does suck. And let's face it, based on the trailer, it kind of looks like it sucks. That doesn't mean it does, because there have been great movies with bad trailers. And if you don't believe me, the original Star Wars had a fucking awful trailer. It was one of the worst trailers of all time. And yeah, Star Wars, wow, that turned out pretty good, didn't it? But anyway, fucking... God. Let's say it sucks, and I give it a negative review. Then I'm going to get the crazy feminists who are going to tell me that I'm one of those 40-year-old virgin types who just hate on it because they're females and this and that, and then I'm a big sexist and I'm a misogynist and all this shit. And that's not true either. So, like, I don't want to give an opinion on it because any opinion is going to be not listened to, okay? Nobody wants to know what I think of Ghostbusters. And that's why I'm not going to say. I might revisit it at a time when the heat has died down. And the reason that it's not anything against me. It's not that the internet has decided that NecroVMX guy, we don't want to hear his review of Ghostbusters. It's not that. It's just that so many people have prejudice against this movie or prejudice for this movie. They've already made up their minds on it. And if I say something that agrees with their point of view, they're going to think that they're right, and it's sort of like a broken clock being right once or twice a day. It's not that they're right, it's just that they, the movie happened to, be whatever they thought it was going to be, or that it was good or bad. But if I disagree with them, then I'm either A, being politically correct, or B, being a misogynist. And I'm not going to give an opinion out of political correctness, and I'm not going to give an opinion out of misogyny, because I am neither of those things. I am not politically correct, nor am I one of those people that just wants to piss people off, and revels in being politically incorrect. Because I want to quote from Ayn Rand, actually, who I don't agree with on every single thing, by the way, but I want to say that she said, the only thing worse than the conformist is the trendy nonconformist. And it's true. When we talk about political correctness as a problem, and it can be, the only thing worse than the trend of political correctness is the anti-political correctness trend. Because they're not about free speech. They're not about honesty. They're about being awful people. Really, that's what it is. They're about racism and homophobia and transphobia and misogyny, and they feel that they're being censored by people who are politically correct. Maybe that's true, and maybe it's bullshit. But the fact is, they're fucking assholes. I believe in free speech. And I believe that everybody has a right to say whatever the hell they want, even if it's wrong, even if it's offensive, even if I don't agree with it. By the same token, I have the right to call him a dumbass. I have the right to tell him to shut the fuck up. I have the right to block him from my channel, because you don't have free speech on YouTube. It's private organization. I have the right to do whatever I want, too. So, like I said, free speech means that the government won't make any laws restricting free speech. So when people say these political correct people are destroying free speech, like, no, they can't destroy it. They're just doing their thing, and the thing is, like I said, I don't particularly agree with the political correct movement, but the anti-political correct movement is hideous. It's full of hideous people saying and doing hideous things. It's sort of like the whole feminism thing. Andrew once described me as the most egalitarian person he knows. Egalitarian means you believe in equality in all its forms. I really do believe that we are all created equal. Does that mean we all wind up equal? No, because some people are good people and some people are bad people. That being said, though, it's not based on sex or color or religion or anything like that. It's based on your actions, So, when you get the feminists, I think feminism was very important at one point, and I think now it's still relevant, but at the same time, it's gone a little bit off the rails, not because of what they're trying to do, but about the way they go about it. It's become angry, and it's become almost oppressive in a way. It's become very intolerant, I think. Then you look at, but then, I almost don't want to say that, because then you get painted the brush of the anti-feminist, the men's right activist, the guy with the fedora who doesn't have a job, and just sits there whining about feminists and how they're the worst people in the world, and it's like, if you spend 1 minute talking to these people, they are fucking knobs, dude. And it really shows that both sides have a point, and they're both being dicks about it. So how do I deal with that? I try to stay the fuck out of it. Okay? I don't engage with the crazy feminists. I don't... Wow, the heat just came on. Fucking June. Crazy. I don't engage with the men's rights activists, because they're fucking nuts too. And I just think that everybody has taken everything a little too seriously lately. Everybody... honestly, that's sort of like, you want to fix the world? Start by getting everybody to chill the fuck out. Chill the fuck out. That's like the first thing everybody should learn how to do. You want to be a better person? Chill the fuck out. I'm not saying never get worked up over shit. Don't get offended by shit. Don't ever get passionate about shit. You should get offended by certain things. You should get worked up over shit. You should get passionate about shit, but not about everything. Chill the fuck out. One last thing before I go, because it's just brought... I just learned about this the other day. There's this page on Facebook called Garlic Bread Memes, and I was unaware of it until recently. But it's a page devoted to people posting memes about how much they love garlic bread. And some of these things they put up there are really funny. And apparently the whole... it's a very popular page, a lot of followers. And the community there has decided that the opposite of garlic bread is banana bread, and therefore banana bread is shit. And so there's a lot of anti-banana bread stuff. So it's all about, like, you love garlic bread, you hate banana bread. It's all these, like, funny memes and shit, And anyway, they posted this one meme where it showed 2 slices of garlic bread. And it said, if I had a piece of garlic bread for every gender there is. Now, recently, there have been some people who have decided that they believe that there are a lot of genders, or that gender is a spectrum. And by posting this, the owner is basically saying he only believes there's male and female. And then you get these people that got very offended by that. And I can understand maybe if you identify as something other than male or female, being a little bothered by it. But these people, like, they're calling him an asshole, they're calling him a bad person. So anyway, he did an interview, And in that, he was saying that, he only posted because he thought it was funny. He's not trying to offend anyone, but he does personally think there were only 2 genders. And then they're like, well, what about, transgender people? And he says, well, transgender people are people who are going from one to the other. And he's got nothing against that. Neither do I, by the way. But they're either men who were born as women or women who was born as men. They're transitioning from one to the other. But some people feel it's a spectrum. And, the way I see it, that's a difference of opinion, okay? I personally do believe that it's binary. I do believe that there are 2 genders. If you think that makes me an asshole, come on, just unsubscribe at that point. I don't want to deal with you. Because guess what? If you think it's a spectrum, I don't think that makes you an asshole. I don't think that you're necessarily wrong. It's just that that's one thing that we disagree on, and it's okay to disagree with people. And I can understand being passionate about it if it affects your own life, but, some people have got this idea that everybody's got to agree with them, and if they don't, they're a shithead. And this guy, it's like, they're saying that, one person said, I thought it was funny, they're like, well, if you believe there's only 2 genders and you only get 2 pieces of garlic bread, ain't that a shame? I thought that was kind of funny. But I saw this whole controversy, and I didn't understand the controversy. They're saying that this garlic bread page is run by an asshole, he's transphobic and everything. And it's like he specifically said he's got nothing against trans people. He just believes that they're either male or female. They get to choose. And I personally believe that, yes, you can pick your gender. Why not? What does it hurt to do that, right? I was born as a guy, but if you gave me a choice, well, I'd still be a guy. But then there's other people who feel otherwise. They'd say, oh, there's a choice? Well, I don't want to be this. I want to be that. Who's being hurt by that? Nobody. I don't get that. But that's not saying that, if you're against it, then you're an evil person. See, that's the thing. The world is not that fucking black and white. The world is not divided into, evil people and then you and everybody that agrees with you. So that's just something I want to get off my chest. And that does relate to Ghostbusters, because it seems that right now there's lines in the sand and everybody is either screaming about that anybody who says anything positive about the new Ghostbusters is a feminist, or they're politically correct, or they're white knighting, or any of these bullshit buzzwords that mean nothing. And then you got the other side saying that anybody that says anything negative about it is a misogynist, an asshole, and they're, whatever other bullshit that they can come up with. And it's all fucking bullshit. And you know what? I'm just here I can't tell you the movie's good. I can't tell you the movie's bad. I haven't seen it. I can tell you that the 2 trailers suck, though. And I'm not saying that means anything. Usually, with comedies, when the trailer sucks, the movie's probably going to suck. It could turn out otherwise. But I'm not interested in putting myself through the fucking ringer like a fucking piece of meat at Burger King just for a review. So the week that Ghostbusters come out, I'll do a movie review of something else. Anyway, that's POTATOCAST. Went a little longer than I expected. I did have a lot to say, and I'll see you guys next week. Keep an eye out for more content. Leave me some comments.